Yeah, my Spanish definitely became quite Mexican. So I was told when I was in Brazil.
Welcome to English with Lewis. Let's go! Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to English with Lewis. I hope you're having a fantastic day wherever you are, whatever you're doing. And on that note, speaking about that, let me know. Where are you at the moment? Where do you live? Put it in the comments, and maybe I visited your hometown, maybe not, but there's only one way to find out. But anyway, let's get straight to the point and cut to the chase and kick off today's interview with another teacher. So, Finn, hello, how are you?
Hello. Yeah, I'm great, thank you. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, I'm doing good, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Yeah, I'm all right. I don't like to complain. So let's say I'm on top of the world. I'm flying. I'm in a fantastic mood.
Great, great. Everybody tells me I complain too much, so I think I need to take a leaf out of your book, I think.
Nice expression, to take a leaf out of someone's book. Finn, what does this expression mean?
Yeah, so it's kind of to learn from other people, and if you see something good that they're doing, then you should kind of take that and use it for yourself. Learn from it and implement it to your life, your personality, your general mood in my case.
Wonderful. So yeah, you can take a leaf out of my book. And another expression using the word leaf, which has a kind of similar meaning, is to turn over a new leaf. And this is to change your behavior or habits for the better. And it is to, I don't know, for example, in the past, I was really lazy. I woke up really, really late. I wasn't very productive at all. But from today, I've decided to turn over a new leaf and get up early to do exercise, for example.
Yeah, it's like the leaf is a page in the book and you are turning over hopefully to the next chapter, beginning a new episode in your life.
Wonderful. Now, anyway, Finn, introduce yourself. Who are you? Where are you from? What do you do? And so on.
Okay, yeah, so I'm Finn. I'm from Cornwall, which is the most southwestern county of the UK, so right down in the bottom left corner. I've just finished uni, so I just graduated in Spanish, Portuguese, and translation. So I think it really helps with English teaching if you kind of understand the language learning process yourself and just understanding why English is so difficult. I've had a kind of a hard time recently trying to explain to other people why English is so difficult, but obviously no one else speaks other languages here really. So yeah, it's kind of difficult.
So you're from Cornwall. You have just graduated. You've just finished uni. You studied Spanish, Portuguese, and translation. Why? Why did you choose this degree?
So, well, in school, it all started in school, really. I didn't like any subjects other than Spanish. So I decided to carry on with it at A level. So we go to college after school. So I studied Spanish with, I think, geography and environmental science. And again, Spanish was what I enjoyed. So I wanted to carry on at university because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And obviously, loads of people go to university. It's kind of a good stepping stone if you don't know what to do. So I decided to just do it with another language because a lot of the time you have the option to do it a language with another subject like business or economics or
Mhm.
politics or something like that. But I wanted to learn another one alongside. And yeah, if you know a little bit about Spanish and Portuguese, they're obviously very similar. They go hand in hand. So it was kind of just an obvious choice.
Wonderful. Cool. Now, just breaking down a few of the phrases you used. One of them, a nice phrasal verb, to carry on, is to continue. You wanted to carry on with your Spanish at university. And you said Spanish and Portuguese go hand in hand. If two things go hand in hand, they are closely connected, closely related. And you said also that it was a good stepping stone. So going to university was a nice stepping stone to move on in your career, like a nice intermediate point, let's say.
Yes, dancing along almost like a path through a pond on different stepping stones, dancing through the pond of life.
Interesting. Cool. Now, your Spanish and your Portuguese, do you speak Spanish more like from Spain or from a different country in Latin America? And the same for Portuguese. Have you adopted more of a Portugal Portuguese or Brazilian Portuguese?
Yeah, good question. So a part of the degree was a year abroad. So I spent half of the year in Mexico working at a mezcal company. So mezcal is kind of like tequila. Unfortunately, I wasn't a taste tester, but I was there at the company. So yeah, my Spanish definitely became quite Mexican. So I was told when I was in Brazil for my Portuguese half of the year, I did just an exchange program in Belo Horizonte in Minas Gerais. So that was just half a year just studying. They had a lot of other students from Latin America on the exchange program as well. So I continued or carried on practicing my Spanish a little bit there. And they did mention how Mexican my Spanish was, which was great.
Awesome. So do you use words like way or chingon?
Yeah, way is a really popular one, isn't it? It's kind of, well, I thought and I heard it kind of at the start and at the end of pretty much every sentence. So it's kind of hard not to kind of adopt it yourself.
Awesome. Cool. Now, I've never been to Mexico and I've never really been to Brazil. I had a stamp on my passport for when I was in Argentina because I crossed the border when I went to one of the seven wonders of the world, Iguazu, the waterfalls, which are kind of in the middle between Argentina, Paraguay, and Brazil. But yeah, I've never actually been to Sao Paulo, to Rio, anywhere like this. So how would you compare these two countries between Mexico and Brazil?
Oh, that is a very good question. Well, when I was in both of them, I didn't really do much traveling myself. I kind of stayed where I was and just tried to focus on what I was doing because I have plans to go back and do a lot of traveling. So I didn't want to go somewhere or make a lot of effort traveling somewhere just for the sake of going if I didn't have the time or the money to kind of enjoy it. Um, but yeah, I would say, oh, but both countries are really, really patriotic.
Uh-huh.
Everybody's really passionate about their own country, which was great. I think a lot of European countries need to again take a leaf out of out of their book. But yeah, I think in Mexico, food was a really like a really big thing. I think in Brazil, I didn't notice it as being too much of the culture. Obviously,
Mhm.
the barbecue food is kind of amazing, but in Mexico, I was in Oaxaca, so there's a lot of cultural history and cultural richness there, which a big part of that is the food and the mezcal as well.
And were you a little bit nervous or anxious or apprehensive about going to a place that is so different to Cornwall in particular?
Yeah, I definitely was beforehand. Yeah, so kind of at the end of my second year and having that summer right before, I was definitely quite nervous because it was the longest I would have been away from home at the time, and just going on my own as well. I'm not really sure too much of what to expect, but you settle in very quickly. And then once I came back from Mexico, I wasn't too nervous for Brazil because I was prepared and ready. And I knew a few other people from my uni going with me. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's all about the experience, isn't it, to calm the nerves.
Pretty perfect. Wonderful. It sounds good. And you used another phrasal verb, which was to settle in. So it took a while maybe to settle in. To settle in is basically to become accustomed and comfortable in new surroundings with new people or in a new place. If you move country, it's obviously going to take a while to settle in and get used to the culture, the food, and all of these things. But I didn't actually ask you, where did you go to university in the UK? Which city did you choose?
Yeah. Cardiff. Oh, sorry, I don't know if you can hear the coffee machine in the background.
All good. Whoever's making a coffee, I can almost smell it from here, but I can't hear it. So perfect.
Okay, cool. Yes, I went to Cardiff, so the capital of Wales, and I thought it was a really good distance away from me being in Cornwall. It takes kind of 4 hours. It depends how long you stop at McDonald's for, really, but
Uh-huh.
3.5, 4 hours, something like that. So it's far enough away to the point where you can't just drive home every weekend, but it's not too far away. It's not the complete other end of the country if you do need to travel home.
Okay, cool. Like, I've actually never been to Cardiff either. I've been to Wales quite a few times, and obviously there is a little bit of a rivalry between Welsh people and English people, in particular from their end. Like, if there's a football match or a rugby match between England and Wales, usually Welsh people will get really up for it, and they'll be more than happy to criticize the English, whereas the English, it's kind of like, it's fine, little old Wales. So did you experience this rivalry whilst you were there?
Yeah, so Cardiff has a lot of English students. Most of the people there are English. And with it being so close to the English border, there are a lot of English people there living and working as well. So every year when the Six Nations rolls around, it gets pretty intense. And on a match day, especially England versus Wales, it's crazy. Everywhere is so busy. Yeah, it can be pretty intense, but it's really good. Yeah, definitely really good. Where did you go to in Wales?
Well, I've been to like the Snowdon area because I went to university in Liverpool as well. I remember going on a couple of trips around like the north of Wales, and Llandudno is a really beautiful seaside town. And all around the north of Wales, there are lots of little castles too, which are really beautiful. But yeah, I've only really seen the top half of the country, and I haven't really been to the other half where the accent is a little bit stronger. It's more of a stereotypical Welsh accent, whereas in the north, sometimes it's hard to tell exactly if they're from like Wales or Cheshire and Liverpool area.
Okay, yeah, I'm sort of the opposite to you. I haven't been to the northern half. Yeah, obviously was in Cardiff. I went to Swansea quite a little bit, and then went to Aberystwyth for a water polo game as well, but nothing north of there. But yeah, the further west you go, the stronger the accent gets, and the
And
more people that actually speak Welsh as well. So I knew quite a lot of Welsh people that didn't speak Welsh kind of fluently, which I thought was quite interesting.
and would you recommend this area of Wales to people from abroad who are wanting to immerse themselves in English and improve their English?
I think it's a great challenge if you're looking to kind of explore different accents, or you find different accents really interesting. So I love the Welsh accent. I find it quite funny, not in a way that I'm laughing at them. I don't want people to think I'm laughing at them, but I find it quite an amusing accent, really. Especially if it's quite a light accent. So if it's not too thick, then it can definitely be really good for English learners.
Excellent. An interesting little thing, prepositions. We have to differentiate between laugh at someone and laugh with someone. So just to clarify, if you are laughing at someone, it's kind of in a disrespectful way. It's like you're pointing at them and be like, so it's not maybe the nicest thing to do. However, if you are laughing with someone, it means that they've maybe told a joke or that other person is laughing at the same time. So important to clarify that little difference. Laughing at someone is like, haha, what a loser. And laugh with someone is like, oh, yeah, you're so funny. Good joke. Well done.
Yeah, so we should only laugh at the Welsh when they lose the Six Nations again.
Exactly. Once again. Awesome. So you graduated recently. You finished university recently. So what is the plan moving forward? How do you see the next few months and few years in your life?
Yeah, so I'm a free man now. I'm in the big open wide world. There was definitely the temptation of maybe doing a master's degree. But I think that would definitely be we call it a panic master's. So you don't know what to do, you don't want to leave university, you don't want to get a job. So you you apply for a master's just so you can keep the student life, carry on living the student life. But I didn't do that. I'm currently doing an internship and teaching a bit of English as well. So I'm really trying to build up my English club at the minute. And those are my main two focuses, really.
Right. Whilst you were at uni, were you already teaching English?
I was doing a little bit. So the first half of the year, conversation class with a regular group, and then that kind of dropped away a little bit, and I had a couple of private students as well. But it was definitely quite hard towards the end of the year or the academic year when I had exams and stuff. So I was doing a little bit here and there, but not as much as I'm doing now.
Cool. And you mentioned this internship. What kind of internship are you doing?
So communications. So it's only like 14 hours a week, something like that, in the communications team for a charity called Children Change Colombia. Sorry, it's a lot of C's.
CCC.
Yeah, CCC. It's a whole lot easier. So they have a lot of projects going on in Colombia, but they are UK based. I guess we can leave a website link or their Instagram or something down below. So yeah, those guys are super amazing at what they do, and I'm glad to be on their team doing what I can, really. And I'm even raising some money for them as well. I know we've spoken a little bit about running before, so I'm sure we'll get on to that topic. But yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Perfect. Well, before we move on to interest, hobbies, sports in particular, I actually met my girlfriend when I was at university, my fourth year of uni in Liverpool, and she's Spanish. She's from Seville. And I was studying Spanish, Italian, and Portuguese at uni, just like you, with the Italian as well. Don't ask me to speak Portuguese or Italian right now because I'm so rusty. It's just like, it's as if I had never studied it at this point. But
yeah, I know the feeling. Even after 4 months of graduating or something like that, I feel pretty rusty myself.
Awesome. You need to brush up on your Portuguese. You need to polish and improve it a little bit. But what I was getting at is the fact that my girlfriend kind of criticized my choice of degree. And not because it was a bad choice or anything like that, but she studied law and had to study a lot. Like her Erasmus was intense. And usually a year abroad or an Erasmus is just about, traveling, speaking the language, having fun, which it was for me. And I'm sure it was kind of like that for you too. But my girlfriend had to really knuckle down and study a lot to do her exams. And then she saw that for my classes, I'd just go to uni, have a little chat in Spanish. I got her to help me with my writing exams. So then I got really good marks because, of course, she's Spanish. So she was like throwing some shade at me, being like, Lewis, you're so lazy. Your degree was so easy. And looking back now, it wasn't the hardest period of time in my life. I've got to admit. But I'm curious, was your time at university difficult? Did you have to study a lot in order to do the coursework and the exams?
Yeah, so intense is not a word I would use really compared to my housemates, especially in the final year. Um, they spent a lot of hours in library, a lot more than me, which I guess I could have done. There's always more to do, isn't there? But I did enough, and I definitely had a very good time.
So if anyone is 17, 18, 16, whatever, and you're considering going to uni and you're not sure what to study, and you don't really want to study a lot, but you want to make friends, speak a lot, and travel, then languages are the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure.
Cool. So let's get into sport, hobbies, interests. Yesterday, I ran a half marathon just for the fun of it because I'm getting back into the swing of running to prepare for a couple of marathons that I have the Brussels Marathon and the Seville Marathon once again. Because in my case, I enjoy running, but it's more so the fact that I can run whenever I want. I don't need to wait for anyone else to go for a run. I like being outside because I'm always inside working. And then if I have a clear objective to train for and aim for, then this is my own way of ensuring that I'm not going to get fat because I like to eat. So these are the main reasons why I run. And yeah, I do enjoy it, but I listen to music, I feel better after going for a run. But it's not like I wake up and I think, oh, I can't wait to go for a run today. Um, but what about you? You like running, swimming, etc. Has this always been the case? And why do you run?
Um, yeah, well, a few questions there, but
No, no.
like
Yep.
you, I kind of yeah. Well, when I'm running, for one, I feel like I don't really enjoy it. Maybe it's because I'm not very good that it's extremely difficult, or I seem to be struggling a lot more than everybody around me.
Uh-huh.
But afterwards, you always feel really good and amazing, don't you? So, um, yeah, I guess that's one of the reasons why we run. And like you are, I've got an objective to train for, which I think makes it a little bit easier, and you're a lot more motivated, I find. So I'm doing a 50K run in January with my girlfriend, who I also met at uni actually. So we're doing that together. Um, yeah, and we actually met each other in the swimming and water polo club at uni. So she swims and runs. I swim, try and run, and I played a little bit of water polo at uni. But yeah, I'm really really quite terrible. My water polo career is done and dusted. That's over.
Uh-oh.
But yeah, it's really really difficult. I don't know if you've ever
I've never
tried
tried
it.
water polo, like not properly anyway, like maybe with some mates in a pool and then you get a ball and you're like grappling and fighting and like sinking. But I've never tried it professionally. Like, did you just get into it at uni or was it before that?
Yeah, so my first year of university, it was during the pandemic, so nothing was really going on or happening. So in the second year, I started playing. I wasn't even on the team. I just did a little bit of training, and then I had my year abroad, so I didn't do any then, and then started again in this last final year. So my experience is quite limited, and so is my ability, let's say. But yeah, I used to be a lifeguard, so for a couple of summers recently, I was a beach lifeguard, and I thought going into water polo that I would be quite good at keeping afloat. And yeah, it turns out that treading water is a lot harder than than you think.
Exactly. And treading water, I'm not sure if people will be common with this, will know this phrase, what it is. What is treading water? How would you describe it?
I think the easiest way to describe it is keeping your head above water. So swimming, but without going anywhere, just keeping afloat and not sinking. So not just not going down, not
I think it's
drowning,
clear. Yeah,
essentially.
you're treading water. You're not doing like front crawl, breaststroke, anything like this. But you mentioned this 50K race in January. 50K is more than a marathon. Why the hell did you sign up?
Yeah, so it's technically an ultra marathon. So an ultra marathon is any distance that's over a marathon, but generally the least distance, the smallest distance that you would do for an ultra marathon is 50K. Um, and we're doing it on the coastal paths near to where I live. So it's got some nice, beautiful scenery. But to be honest, I was speaking to another guy that did it last year, and I saw the event happening, and I just decided that I needed something to train for whilst I was at home, trying to build up my English club, doing this internship. Um, yeah, just to give myself motivation to put my running shoes on.
And the training so far, how's it going?
Slowly. We're slowly building it up more and more. But yeah, no, it's good fun. I've been quite busy recently, so there have been some sessions that have been missed. But we will, yeah, we'll get back on track pretty soon.
I'm sure you've got plenty of time. You know, Christmas might be a little bit tricky to navigate and try not to drink too much and eat too much and get out when it's raining and it's cold and it's miserable. But if you have
Yeah,
the
I think
willpower, I'm sure it'll go perfectly.
yeah, I'm sure it will. I think it's quite well timed because it's at the beginning of January. So you have a deload phase, they call it. So you taper your running. So you reduce the amount of miles you're doing, the amount of time you're running each week. So around Christmas time, I will be relaxing and eating a lot of food and not feeling guilty about it.
It's like you've planned it perfectly.
Yes, it was planned all along.
No, I think the only time that I've been to Cornwall was in fact also at uni because my flatmate was part of the surf club or the surf society or something like that. A university in the UK, you always have the choice of joining some sports clubs, and I didn't really want to join any, to tell you the truth. But my flatmate was like the captain or something like that of the surf club. So then whenever he didn't have like a full group of people to go on a surf trip. He'd be like, "Oh, does anyone fancy joining?" So one time I said, "Yeah, why not?" And they were driving down from Liverpool all the way to Newquay, and they were going to go there for like a long weekend to surf, to have fun, etc. And I had never been surfing. To that day, I've never been surfing again. So I've been surfing once in my lifetime, and I was shocked at how hard it was, like how difficult it was to stand up and actually catch a wave. Um, Tell me about your surfing experience because you're from Cornwall, which I imagine gives you an advantage, perhaps.
Yeah, so to be honest, I can't remember when I started surfing. And when I was younger, I would mostly only really do it in the summer. But I worked at a surf school from the age of 13 until I was about 20, maybe 20, 21, something like that. Um, yeah, so I started out just kind of helping on the lessons and then became an instructor, and I did that for quite a while. But I think what makes it so difficult is that it you use movements, you do things that you don't normally do. It's quite an unusual motion and method. So because you're so out of practice, it makes it really, really hard. And especially with the waves that are constantly hitting you and making you extra tired, which kind of affects everything and makes it much more difficult.
Do you have any great tips or pieces of advice that you could give to me and any other beginner surfers to be able to stand up and start to enjoy surfing?
Yeah, number one rule is don't look down. Your
Okay.
feet are down. So yeah, if you look down, your feet are down there and you're just looking at your ugly feet when you're at a nice, beautiful beach and you could be looking up in front of you, nice golden sand. Yeah, keep your eyes on the prize is the main goal, really.
Okay.
The main tip I would give.
So don't look down. The next
Yeah,
time, if I ever go surfing again, I'm gonna swim, try to get to the wave, try to push myself up, and then never look down until I fall.
exactly. Yes, it doesn't matter how beautiful your feet are. The beach in front of you is going to be more attractive.
Wonderful, cool. Now, moving on from interest in sport, I imagine you'd like to continue traveling in the near future, given that you had your year abroad, you went to Mexico and Brazil. Which places in the world are you most eager to visit?
Oh, good question. I definitely want to go back to Mexico and Brazil and do a bit more traveling all around them, especially Brazil, because it's such a huge country that you don't really realize or appreciate until you're there. And yeah, Brazil is just stunning. So yeah, I want to go back there. Um, just all around Latin America, really. Make sure I brush up on my Spanish, I hone in on my skills. Um, I think that anywhere from Mexico down is the top of my priority list, really. Um, so I've done a bit of traveling before university. I had just we call it a gap year. So I went to Australia and New Zealand and Indonesia with my friends right before COVID. So we were planning on doing a little bit more, going to Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia, but COVID happened, so we had to come home, unfortunately. But yeah, I want to go back and hope like tick those off the list, really. But Latin America is my priority.
Okay, perfect. Going over more phrasal verbs, you said you wanted to hone in on your skills, which is like to focus and work on. And you also said that you want to tick off these places. If you've got a list and then you are literally writing a tick, then you are ticking things off the list. And I imagine you're speaking about your bucket list of like things you want to do, places you want to go to. You're just ticking them off in your head, one by one, bit by bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the plan.
Okay. Watch this space. Let's see what happens. But in the meantime, I imagine you have some downtime where you're just chilling out, taking it easy with your feet up after going for a long run. What kind of TV series or shows have you been watching recently?
Well, me and my girlfriend actually just finished a show called The Mold. So it's quite similar to I can't what's it called? Traitors, The Traitors, something like that, the BBC one. which was on quite a few months ago now. But The Mole is on Netflix. I don't know. Have you seen it?
It's funny because I actually watched it like last week and I
Oh,
thought I
wow.
was the only one because I was randomly looking for something to watch whilst doing some work and on my laptop to have some like background viewing. So yeah, I think I'm one of the few people who's watched this show, but tell us a bit more about it.
Yeah, yeah, that's really funny, isn't it? I haven't heard of anybody else that's seen it either. Um, at the start, I didn't know how interested in it I would be, and especially because all of the contestants are American, so it can be a little bit too much sometimes. But if you can get past the American accent and the enthusiasm of the Americans, then it does hook you in eventually, especially towards the end, because people get eliminated and you're trying to figure out who the mole is. So there is one of the, well, they're not characters, yeah,
Yeah, the
contestants.
contestants, one of the contestants.
Yeah, the contestants are, one of them is the mole. So they are trying to ruin all of the challenges and stop everybody else from earning money that gets added to the prize pot. Um, and you, as the audience, don't know who the mole is. The other contestants don't know who the mole is. So you're trying to figure it out, and then you think it's one person, and then they just get eliminated, and yeah, you have no idea. So the further into the series you get, the more it captivates you.
No, 100%. Yeah, it's interesting. I watched it last week and I really enjoyed it, despite it not being the best show I'll ever watch in my life. It's the kind of like trash TV that I get a bit of a kick out of, that I actually enjoy. It's a bit of a guilty pleasure almost. And as you mentioned, at the moment on Netflix at least, they just have the two seasons, which are both in America and with Americans, and they can be a little bit full on, which is a nice way of describing people who are very enthusiastic, let's say. So they are very, very full on. But once you get past that, it really does hook you. And then you think, oh, what's going to happen next? And each chapter, each episode ends on a cliffhanger where you think, oh, what's going to happen next? So then it draws you in to keep watching it. So The Mole, check it out, everybody, but also The Traitors, where it's based in Scotland, a kind of similar thing with some little nuances. But we have two seasons and it's British English. So if you are really working on your British English, then maybe The Traitors on BBC is a better kind of show that you could watch. And I think on that note, we will call it a day because I've got to run. I've got to go. I'm in a rush. Time is running out. But Finn, it's been an absolute pleasure having a little chat with you, getting to know you. And if anyone watching this has any questions for Finn, do not hesitate to write a comment. And I'm sure between myself and him, we'd be happy to get back to you.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you very much for having me on. It's been great to speak to you.
Woo! Awesome. See you later, guys. Bye bye. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and see you next time.